Hey everyone, welcome back to another video, and in today's video we have this 2021 Ford F-150 and we're going to do the chrome delete installation for the front grille. So as you can see, this is how it looks before doing the installation on the front grille for the Ford F-150, and this is how it looks after the installation. So we use the gloss black material, that way we change the appearance of the grille and it gives it a more sportier look as well. If you like the product, link for the product will be down below. But with that being said, let's get started with the installation video. So before starting with the installation, we need to make sure we prep the panel. So to prep it, all you need is water, baby shampoo inside a spray bottle. Once you have your solution, spray it onto a clean microfiber towel. And then just make sure you start removing any contaminants that the panel may have. And then once you're done cleaning the panel, make sure that the panel is completely dry. That way the adhesive on the film tacks down better to the panel and it doesn't get damaged because it's still wet. So you need a clean and dry panel before you start with the installation. Okay, so first we're going to start by installing the piece that goes on the lower section of the grille. So this one is a 2-piece install. So it's one piece for one side and then it's going to be a piece for the other side. But when you're doing the installation, it's just rinse and repeat the steps that was done here to the other side. With this one, start aligning this section of the film to the edge of the panel here. So make sure you align it right on the edge and give yourself enough material to cover the bottom and this top section here. So once you have it aligned, lift the film carefully, try not to pull the film, and then with your squeegee just tack it down right in the middle. Place the film down here just to hold it in position and just come back with your squeegee and tack down the whole flat surface of this panel here. Okay, so now when it comes to installing the top and the bottom pieces, you could do a cutout here on the edge. Just make a small cutout where the edge is of the panel. So there's going to be one here. So find the edge and do a small cutout. Once you did the small cutout, grab your squeegee and tack down the film. You can also apply heat. That way you help the film tack down faster inside. And then the excess material that we had for the cutout here, we could trim it off. So just grab your blade and trim off the excess material. And then you just tuck it inside and it should fit perfect. And then just tack down the inside underneath as well. And you just need to apply heat to help it tack down to this small curve here because it does have a small curve on the grille. So applying heat will help remove any fingers around this area. So grab your heat gun, lift the film carefully and start applying heat to remove the fingers and then tacking them down underneath the panel. Let the film cool off and then tack it down. So now that this section is tacked down, now we can come back and lift the film up to where we left off and just tack it down. Just make sure when you're doing the alignment, you give yourself enough material to cover the top piece here. So align it and lift it and tack it down. So something to keep in mind, the film doesn't cover all the way inside underneath the panel here. So it only covers up to the flat surface and a little bit of underneath the panel. So all you need to do now is just tack down, secure it, removing air bubbles, and just finish it off tacking down. And just apply heat around the curved area. So as you can see, this curve here is the same as here. So in order to tack down the film, because it's still lifting, all you need to do is apply heat, and we're going to help the film tack down to this curve. Let the film cool off, and then with your finger, help it tack down. And it's just rinse and repeat until you bring the film down. And then once you're done bringing down the film and helping it tack down to the curve, then we trim off the excess material. Okay, once we tack down this section, now we can start trimming off the excess material. So the panel here does have a small gap where we could insert the blade and trim off all the excess material. So each panel has a small gap. So just find the gap in the panel and trim off the excess material. So like that. And you just do the same all across until you reach it to this end. So once you finish tacking down everything, we're just going to apply heat around the whole entire panel. That way we help secure it and it doesn't lift over time. And then once we're done with this piece, now we can move on with this piece here. So now we're moving on to this middle piece here. With this one, it's a 2-piece installation as well. So we're going to install one piece that goes up to here, and the next piece will cover the rest here. So with this one, when you grab the smallest piece, align it on the edge there. So align it right on the edge and just work your way up to the middle. Grab your squeegee and start tacking down the film inside. Because it is such a small area to work with, just take your time and tacking down the whole film. And if you need to apply heat to seal it, you can. But just take your time tacking down the whole panel here. You can also apply heat in case you're having trouble tacking down the film. Heat will just help the adhesive activate a bit faster, and it also helps release the tension that the film might have around the curved areas. And now that this piece is secured, now we move on with the last piece, which is this piece here. Okay, so now just continue where we left off. So just overlap the film just a bit from where we left off, and just make sure you give yourself enough material to cover the top and the bottom. So place it right in the middle, and then grab your squeegee and start from one edge and just tack down the film. Take your time, stop around this area here, because here we're going to trim off the excess material. So start where we left off on the top, and now everything's tacked down. And now all we need to do here is just trim off the excess material. So you grab your blade, follow the design of the panel, and trim off the excess material. Once you finish installing the whole piece, since we trimmed off the excess material here, apply heat. That way it tacks down to the panel. And now we can come back and remove any excess material that we don't need. So remember, it has a gap right in the panel. That's where you would trim off the excess material. And you would do the same underneath here. If you do have excess material, just find a small gap and trim off the excess material. And now just apply heat one more time, just to seal all the film, since we did trim off the excess material. And then once you're done with this piece, we move on with the next piece here. Okay, so once you finish with this piece for the installation, now we move on to the top piece here. So with this one, it's basically the same steps that we did with the bottom piece here. They have the same design when it comes to the panel. So all you need to do is align it to this edge, work your way in the middle, and then securing it to the rest up to the middle here. So it's only going to cover this whole middle section here and the front piece of the panel, because since this one has a top layer here, that's going to be for a different piece. So first, just do the same steps that were done here to the top piece. So start off here on this edge, align the film right on the edge. So place the film here, and just make sure you give yourself enough material just to cover the bottom half of the panel here. So lift it and align it right on the edge. And you could have a little bit of material to cover the top here. You don't necessarily need to go too high, but just a little bit above the body line. So place it. Once you align it, grab your squeegee, squeegee in the middle. Same steps that we did here, but just squeegee the middle, and then place the film just for now. Come back, focus here, tuck in the film. And you're going to need to do a small cutout here as well, like how we did it here. So cut out right on the edge. So once it's tacked down, grab your blade, make the cutout right here on the edge right here. So that's the cutout. And now just tack down the film. So you can start from here and tacking down the film, but you can also apply heat just to help remove any fingers here. So apply heat. And the reason why we're applying heat is just to release the tension of the film here. That way our squeegee is able to tack down the film. So let it cool off and then tack it down. Just like that, and then just finish off with the rest of the film. So just tack down the top, apply heat as well to help it tack down. And just finish off with the rest, rinse and repeat. Make sure you align it, give yourself enough material to cover underneath the bottom piece here, help it tack down around the curve, and then trim off any excess material, and then you should be good. So once you finish installing this piece here, the last piece would be for the top layer of the panel here. So with this one, just start off by placing the film right in the center here. That way you have more room to work with. So with this one, align it where you left off with this one. So right around there. And just make sure you give yourself enough material to cover the top section of the panel here. Lift the film carefully and just follow the design of the panel. Just take your time. If you need to lift it and readjust it, you can, but just take your time until you reach it up underneath here. So it should be like this. Here, we're going to use our squeegee to tuck in inside, but just before we do squeegee the film, we need to make sure everything is secured, everything's covered, and then if it's good to go, then we squeegee. So once you have everything aligned and you see that there's no material that's going to crease, you start squeegeeing. But if you see that there's some areas where you need to fix them, just lift them and readjust them, and just tack them down with your squeegee. And just make sure you remove all the air bubbles that are underneath the film. And then right here, lift the film and carefully tuck it inside to cover the inside of the panel. And all we're going to do is just apply heat around the panel. That way we're able to help the adhesive activate faster. And then after that, we're going to trim off any excess material we don't need. Okay, come back. Trim off the excess material. There's a small gap in the panel where you could insert the blade and just trim off the material. Once you finish trimming off the excess material, you're basically done with the installation. The same steps that were done on one side, rinse and repeat to the other side, and then once you're done, you would post heat the entire panel. So once you finish installing the whole panel, like I mentioned, the last thing to do would be to post heat the entire grill. So to post heat, all you need to do is apply heat all around the panel, making sure we secure the film on the edges, on the curves, and anywhere where we overlap the film. So once you're done with this step, you'd be done with the installation. Just take your time when you're doing this. You want to make sure you heat up the entire panel. Thank you for choosing Bogar Tech Design. As a small business, your support means everything to us. If you loved your product, please drop a review. If you have questions or issues, don't forget to message us via email. Once again, thank you so much for the support from our family to yours. Okay, so that concludes the installation video for the front grille chrome delete installation for the Ford F-150. We hope that this video helped you guys out with the installation. If it did, don't forget to drop a like on the video. Make sure you subscribe and turn on that notification bell. That way you don't miss any upcoming installation videos. Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you in the next one.